Hey, what's up everyone, Hunter K here. Today we're comparing two knives, one that I got from Japan and one that I got from my local Japanese dollar store. When YouTubers usually do this whole knife cutting test, they usually get a tomato which has a skin that is very difficult to cut and slice it very thinly. A splendid choice to show what the knife is capable of doing, but it has its flaws. I took this $1 knife and of course if I sharpen it well enough, it can cut through a tomato flawlessly a couple of times. But who cuts a tomato a couple of times and calls it a day? I expect my knife to hit the cutting board multiple times where over time, it will dull the blade. So today I present you the green onions. And now you might be wondering, why is it a green onion? Now a green onion is one of the most difficult ingredients to cut beautifully, and I'll explain why later on in the video. And now that we got that covered, let's go to the kitchen. So the $1 knife I got is made for kids. Right out of the box, it's got a pretty decent blade, but it does have potential to be more sharp. It's got rounded edges, so I'll have to fix that and turn it into usable sharp edges. I'll be using a 400 grit whetstone, a 1000 grit whetstone, and finally finish it off with a 6000 grit whetstone to give it the same finish as my $100 knife. It's made of carbon steel and it once upon a time used to be a double-edged knife. But now I shaped it to a single edge, which I will be doing the same for the $1 kids knife. After a lot of sharpening and reshaping of the blade, I turned the $1 knife to a Santoku style knife. Looks good, and I think it's time to cut some green onions. The $1 knife did a much better job than I had expected. I cut through the green onions with ease, but let's take a closer look at what really happened. The green onion was improperly sliced and the fibers are sticking out. A green onion has fibers running along the tube, and without a proper cutting technique, and most importantly, a sharp knife, it leaves the green onions bruised, and if we take a look up close again, we can clearly see the fibers of the green onions due to the unclean cuts. There is a trick to cutting green onions, and that is to use the blade of the knife when you are slicing. Many consider this chopping kind of cutting to be considered slicing, when in reality, all that's happening is using brute force to split whatever it is that you're trying to cut. This gives ingredients a bruise, and you can tell you are bruising your ingredients by looking at your cutting board. If your cutting board has green smudges like this all over it, your green onions are losing its flavors from the oils that is being released from the broken cells. This can apply to a lot of other ingredients as well, but to prevent the ingredients from being all broken up, we're going to need a nice sharp knife that won't dull so easily after a few cuts. Now we're looking at some serious clean cuts of the green onions. You can really see the green onions has been sliced to perfection without the fibers sticking out, and the green onion juices remain intact with the onion itself. And if we take a look at the cutting board, it's clean with little to no juices left behind. Now out of these two knives here, I personally do not think the $1 knife is worth it. Now you can get it as sharp as some of the other knives out there, but it will dull so easily over time and it's just simply not worth it. So I'm going to have to give my W to this carbon steel knife over here. But I think it's safe to say that the real winner is this whetstone over here. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and get yourself a knife sharpener. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.